Let's talk about how key the Chiefs coaching staff was against the Philadelphia Eagles and why without Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs would possibly not have won the game, as well as wish him well in his next chapter with the Commanders since everything is now official. But first, how about those? All right, first up, Chiefs running back Jerick McKinnon has been praised for sliding down at the 2-yard line instead of scoring a touchdown at the end of the Super Bowl to ice the game, which ultimately helped the Chiefs win another ring. And while some of the praise no doubt goes to Jerick McKinnon, I mean, you want to talk about self-control, I'm running it in there, and I'm telling my freaking great-great-great-grandkids about the touchdown I scored in the Super Bowl, even if we lost the game. Okay, obviously, no. We want to win, and that was the right call, and Jerick McKinnon, while we got to give this man credit, it is also a credit to Andy Reid and the coaching staff and how they have prepared these guys for moments like this all season long, which Jerick McKinnon shared as much.
Like I've been saying, we practice that play every week. It's just one of those things that I didn't really think too much of it because it's just, that's how we were coached. That's how Coach Reid coaches us.
MVS then took to Twitter and said, "No cap, we practice this play every week." Laughing emoji, and it had never come up until the Super Bowl. Crazy how months of preparation comes down to one play. So hats off to Coach Reid and, of course, Eric Bieniemy for their ability to keep the team ready for situations like this when it comes down to the very end of the Super Bowl so they could execute accordingly without even having to think twice about it. I mean, that's some good freaking preparation, if I do say so myself. And speaking of great coaching, Eric Bieniemy also played a large role in the Chiefs' win against the Eagles because of something he saw back in Week 6 of the Eagles game when they faced off against the Jaguars when studying the game film. It was this touchdown play that the Jags scored on the Eagles where Jamal Agnew faked like he was going in motion pre-snap, and as soon as the ball was snapped, he switched directions and went back to his original side for a pretty easy touchdown. Does that look familiar to you guys? Because it does to me. Well, according to Super Bowl champion and newly retired backup QB legend Chadwick Henne is what I prefer to call him now. Bieniemy put this play on display for all to see in their film study during one of their meetings, then noted that the coaching staff discovered that when the Eagles lined up in man coverage, they would overcompensate at times if an offense used a motion that looked like a jet sweep. Bieniemy then said, hey, if they do this with their coverage, this guy's going to be wide open. It's man coverage. They're just trying to protect themselves from the jet sweep and trying to bubble over the top and get an extra player on the other side of the field. And if you want to read more info, more details on exactly how it went down, you can check out this Athletic article in the description. Anyway, after Eric Bieniemy and the coaching staff found out about this, they apparently spent a couple weeks working on these style of plays, going in motion, switching directions, in an attempt to perfect it for a time of need in the Super Bowl. And boy, oh boy, did it freaking work. In the fourth quarter of that game, the Super Bowl, the Chiefs scored on back-to-back drives with the same style of play using fake motion. On one play, it was Kadarius Toney, a play called Corndog that a lot of us know about now that basically worked to perfection. And then again on another play to Sky Moore, where he lined up actually on the wrong side of the formation. You could hear Mahomes yelling after the touchdown that it was the wrong formation, but they still made it work.
Hey, and we're in the wrong formation. I know we were. That's why I went the motion to right.
Sky Moore goes in motion, then goes the opposite direction, back to the outside. And this man is freaking wide open as it gets. Look at the screenshot. There is nobody there. The only Eagle even close to him is the logo in the end zone. That is mind-blowing. So let's freaking go, Eric Bieniemy, man. Got to tip the cap to the legend. And while the losing coordinators of the Super Bowl, the Eagles' offensive and defensive coordinators, both get head coaching jobs after taking a fat L, the guy who helped outsmart them and actually win the Super Bowl, Eric Bieniemy, did not get a head coaching job, but instead is now officially the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. In my video last week, it was Friday night, to the point of when I actually recorded, it was like a 98% lock. Bieniemy and the Commanders both verbally agreed to a deal, but on Saturday, he officially inked it with a tattoo and in blood. Okay, maybe not like that, but he did sign the contract. It was a 2-year deal with the Commanders that included a, quote, promotion and title, contractual structure, and a pay raise. And it's also worth noting that his actual title is offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. Many of you wanted me to really hone in on the assistant head coach. So there you go. And I mean, maybe that's special. Maybe it isn't. Not sure. Dave Toub is the assistant head coach of the Chiefs, and it's a bit unclear to me what that title really even means and the value it adds overall. I mean, I looked it up. Yes, I actually Googled, what does it mean to be an assistant coach, typed like this, an assistant head coach in the NFL. And sometimes it's just a term, a phrase used as dressing, literally used to make the title sound cooler. Sometimes it means they have more administrational duties, woo, or sometimes it could also mean that they are a bit more in control and have some more oversight of the team, which I do believe in this case, at least I hope, with Eric Bieniemy, is what's going on. At least that is what the reports are saying. He's going to have complete control of the offense. However, I thought this was still going to happen regardless, mainly because head coach Ron Rivera is a defensive-minded head coach and not because of the title they threw on. If the title of assistant head coach, though, gives Eric Bieniemy an eventual chance at becoming a head coach, which I know he really at least wants the shot at being able to be a head coach of a football team, then I'm all for it. Add whatever you need to this title to make it better. Cool. I'm also excited that he got a pay raise. Gonna miss him, but hey, for whatever reason, this is how it's going down. Okay, Eric Bieniemy is now the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach of the Washington Commanders, and he is set to give his introductory presser this Thursday, February 23rd. I'm excited to see that, and again, 1,000% am rooting for Eric Bieniemy and wish him nothing but the best in his next chapter with the Commanders. And with that being said, Matt Nagy, I've talked about this, but we'll harp on it again. He will more than likely be the go-to, or at least the obvious lead as the next offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, even though because of the Rooney Rule, the Chiefs still must interview at least one external minority candidate for their offensive coordinator vacancy, even though we all know that Matt Nagy is probably a 90-something% lock as the next offensive coordinator. I feel like the writing was on the wall for that when they brought him back last season. Anyway, we will more than likely find out some things this week about the Chiefs interviewing candidates for their offensive coordinator as well as their QB coach, and we will also see if Bieniemy attempts to bring any assistant coaches from the Chiefs along with him to Washington. So until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?